4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everybody, and welcome to episode number 62, if I remember rightly, of Ironhammers Live, your weekly PC gaming podcast being broadcast Sundays at not 10 o'clock as per usual. We will be every Sunday from now on. It has been a while since we did a show, and I do apologise for that, but we're back. Happy New Year to everybody. My name is, of course, Bobby Goodin, also known throughout the online realm as Ironhammers, and joining me, as always, you might be able to see him over there. Can you see him? Should we talk to him? Let's talk to him. Daniel Knappman, Hardly Dan. How the hell are you, buddy?
I'm pretty damn good. How the hell are you, my friend?
I'm not bad at all, man. How has 2012 treated you so far?
Pretty badly.
Pretty badly?
Yeah.
What was the traumatic incident that people may be able to see the remnants of on your forehead in 2012, or was it prior to 2012?
It was in 2012, and apparently you've made a promise, which means I've got to talk about it at the
I
start
have.
of the
I
show.
can't remember who it was I promised. Somebody on Twitter, I think it may have been NDRP, would like to know why you're looking so battered, bruised and scarred. And they want to know the full story of what happened between you and the coffee table. So Dan, would you care to explain?
Okay. Picture the scene. It is about 4 AM on New Year's Day. We've had a fantastic night out, and I'm with this group of friends, and one of them, guy I've just met that night, is friends with a mate of mine called Dan, who is huge. He's like 6 foot something. He's really tall. He's built like a brick outhouse. And
I thought you meant he was just a bit like Gabe Newell at first when you said he was huge. But
no, he's just like he's a prison guard and does boxing in his spare time. This guy is big, and somehow I ended up chatting to a friend of his, and he was like, "Oh, come on, hit me with a boxing glove. Go and hit me." I was like, "I can't really hit friends. It's one of those things. I can't hit people I know. I don't really want to hurt them, because I know if I do put everything into a punch, I can break bones in my hand. So it's got to be a fairly good punch, surely."
You know, it's a good punch when you're not worried about hurting somebody else. You're worried about your hand.
Well, no, I'm not worried about my hand. I'm worried about hurting someone else. You know, pain doesn't. It's not that much of a problem for me most of the time.
No pain, no gain, Dan, as you told somebody in a tweet yesterday.
Yeah, he's doing the wrong. He should be surfing instead of going to the gym. But anyway, and so we're having this conversation. He goes, "Oh, Dan, he'll teach you how to, he'll teach you how to punch someone." So he's showing me how to stand properly, which I kind of already knew, and but I'm drunk, so I'm not really doing it right. And showing me how to keep my hands up at that kind of level, apparently eye level for your fists, which seems stupid because it seems like if someone punches you and you block it, you're going to punch yourself in the eye. And I was like, well, that just feels wrong. I'd rather punch myself in the forehead. It's going to be less painful. And so he was like, "No, come on, punch me. And I'm like, okay. So I start laying into him, and then somehow, I guess it was the amount of drugs and alcohol, his kind of boxing training kicked in, and he punched me. I don't really remember where he punched me. I do know my chest is agony, and I think he's cracked a rib there.
So it was probably in your chest.
Yeah, and I kind of went down. And on my way down, my left eye went remarkably close to the corner of the coffee table. Luckily, missed my left eye, and cut my skull open to the bone. It was a really deep cut. It had 17 stitches, 10 deep stitches, and then 7 stitches on top. I didn't feel a thing really when it happened. I got up and everyone was like, "Oh my God, Dan, you're going to A&E," and I was like, "I'm fine." Like, no, seriously, we can see your skull. You're going to A&E. I was like, "No, look, I'm fine. Let's sit down for a bit, have a cup of tea." And they're like, "No, we're calling an ambulance." I was like, "Okay, yeah, sit down." I was like, I don't really feel like sitting down. Do you mind if I go to the loo, maybe have a look in the mirror? And they're like, "Yeah, sure, fine." And I was like, looked in the mirror, I was like, "Okay, I'll go to A&E." And yeah, you could see my skull. I wish I'd taken a photograph, but if I had, I subsequently lost my camera, so I would never have seen that photo anyway.
As horrible as it sounds, I kind of wish you'd taken a photo too.
Yeah, there are some photos that this guy Dan took of me in A&E. Yeah, he insisted on coming. I was like, "You don't really have to come. You know, I'm quite capable of navigating A&E in any hospital anywhere in the world. It's fairly simple. You go up to reception, you give them your details, you sit and you wait until someone calls your name. That's what happens."
Go to reception, you show them your skull, and they kind of get the idea.
But that was a great thing. You know, I applied pressure to it, and I'd been on the phone to the accident emergency. They were like, "How much blood have you lost?" And I was like, "I don't know. I've not been measuring it."
Getting like one of those things called using science, the like tube things, a measuring cylinder.
Yeah, I didn't have one of them handy. So I said to my mate, "How much blood have I lost?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know, coffee cup full." I was like, "What, a mug?" No, coffee cup. I was like, "Okay." And since looking at my T-shirt, which is absolutely plastered in blood, I think it may have been quite a bit more than a coffee cup full. But the great thing was, eventually get to this hospital, and as I'm at the reception, I'm talking to this woman, and blood starts dripping down my face, and I got seen, which I think is possibly some kind of record in A&E when you've gone there yourself in a taxi because the ambulances are too busy. Didn't really need one anyway. 2 hours I spent in that hospital from checking in to getting out. Yeah,
It's usually 2 hours at least before you even get seen.
Well, yeah, where I used to live, it would have been 2 hours for the triage nurse to come round and look at you and go, "Okay, you've got a 2-hour wait." And this show was like, the reason I had to wait 2 hours was because there was a plastic surgeon on call. They had to come from another hospital somewhere in the district to sew my face up. She kept trying to give me local anaesthetic, but my face is still really numb, and I didn't need it then, and I probably still don't need it now. So yeah, that's the truth about what happened. A big guy hit me, and I fell down. That's basically what happened.
Now you know. If it was Andy Archie, then now you know Andy Archie. If it was somebody else, well, now you know too.
Yeah.
So quite an eventful start to the year for Dan.
Yeah. Oh, and I lost my camera. So if anyone's got a Fujifilm S4000 that they no longer want, it would get me out of a load of crap if you could send it my
or
way.
that they found somewhere between.
Yeah, if
Dan's
anyone was
house
in
and
Brighton
the
and they found a Fujifilm S4000 in a kind of man bag with some pills with my name and address on it, I'd like them all back.
So it shouldn't have been too difficult to return if they had have wanted to.
No, I'm guessing they don't want to.
Probably not.
Not a bad camera.
I probably wouldn't have wanted to either. There you
I'm
have
more
it,
sad
guys.
about the camera than anything else.
Yeah,
had a new
I
strap
probably
for
would
it.
be too. Like heads heal, man.
Exactly.
Cameras don't
yeah.
reappear; they cost money.
I'm going to have to spend my money. I was going to upgrade the computer on replacing all my camera and the Christmas presents that were also in the bag.
For which reason, I feel deeply sorry for you, Dan.
Thank you.
However, it looks like you're on the mend.
Yeah, and we've got a show to do.
And we sure have, and I think we might want to talk some PC gaming news, Dan. Do you fancy doing that? Now, before we start, I'm going to just say it is the first show of the year. We have made a few little adjustments to the layout. We're going to be running through the news a little bit more quickly, because, to be fair, most of the news, people probably heard it. But we're going to just pick up the best ones of the week, as we usually did, run through it quite quickly. We're going to have a topic of the week every week now, which this week is going to be SOPA, believe it or not.
A bit of pepper thrown in.
Apparently so. Dan's going to add a dash of pepper. And from that point on, we should be talking about what we've been playing this week, as usual. And instead of a question of the week now, we're going to be taking questions and comments and experiences or whatever you like from our listeners. So
this is where you guys come in.
it certainly is.
We want you to email us, comments, what you've been playing, stuff you've been liking, stuff you've been hating, maybe stuff we can do better. We want your feedback. This is your chance to make a mark on our show.
It is, and I think it's kind of better than just a question of the week. People can kind of, if something interesting has happened, they can send it in, and we can talk about it. And if you've got questions, perhaps you want to upgrade your PC and you don't know what to buy, maybe we can help out a little.
Or it could be something pertaining to the topic of the week.
It could. We shall be making sure to mention the topic of the week beforehand. So anything it is, it will be all done by email, despite a couple this week coming in from Spawnstar via Twitter. We do need them all in future to be by email, which you can email to podcast@ironhammers.org. And hopefully it's going to be quite a good part of the show, but it'll only work if you guys send in your emails. So please do that if you've got anything you want to talk about. It'd be quite cool. So we should try and move on to our PC gaming news of the week. So, this week there's been a few stories that we would like to talk about, hasn't there, Dan?
Yeah, not that many, but...
Not that many. It's been a bit quiet, but there's one big one I'm very excited about. But anyway, Dan, would you like to take away the very first one?
I'm guessing this isn't the big one that you're thinking of, but I'm actually quite looking forward to it. And that is the new Microsoft Flight, which is to be free. And it's a slightly surprising move from Microsoft, especially considering the amount of money some fanatics have pumped into previous games of the series. It's been announced that the upcoming flight sim from Microsoft Flight, will in fact launch as a free-to-play title. That said, never-ending paid-for content could certainly end up with being a winning formula in the long run.
Certainly could. And on another note, more from Microsoft. It looks like there could be another RTS game coming out of them. Could be quite good, actually. Now, they've done a good job with some in the past. Thinking Age of Empires. But a recent job post from the company reads, Microsoft Game Studios is looking for a web-savvy community manager with editorial and PR experience to drive engaging and innovative end-to-end user experiences for an exciting new online PC real-time strategy game. What could it be? Loads of people are speculating. Could be Halo RTS, maybe. They've made one before, but this time it could be on the PC. Who knows? But from the PC to the iPhone...
Yes, and Tryon Worlds launching Rift Mobile. And we've discussed before how the bridging of mobile and PC gaming could get interesting. And a recent app for the iPhone does just that. Rift Mobile, which I believe you can find on the App Store in beta form at the moment, not only allows for earning in-game loot via minigames, but also offers the ability to chat with your friends and guildmates who are in-game, straight from your mobile device.
It certainly does. Something that I've been wanting from many people for a while. Steam, get on it. I want to chat from my mobile device to all my friends who are on Steam.
I don't want to have to use third-party apps on my Android phone.
No. I want a Steam app.
That's not good.
I want a Steam app.
It's the whole chat system they're using that seems to be the issue there, doesn't it? But anyway, there's something about some Diablo thing you're going to say about?
Diablo? Did you mention Diablo, Dan? Could it be that Diablo is going to be released on February the 1st, which, according to my estimations, looking at the date, seeing as it's past midnight, is 22 days away?
I think that might be delayed.
It could well be, and maybe thanks to Korea from the news that's been going around just lately. But Best Buy seem to think so. So much so, in fact, that an advertisement stating just that has been photographed and is making its way around the internet. You may well have seen it. I think it originated from Joystick. But for now, we can only hope that it's true. We've reached out to Blizzard for comment, so watch ironhammers.org for the latest as usual. They're not going to comment at the weekend, so we don't know just yet. But basically, it's a big big billboard thing, kind of, which says Diablo 3 pre-order now for release on February the 1st, not January the 1st. It's kind of been. Although it might get delayed until January the 1st next year, who knows. But I'm not sure that Best Buy would have invested in a massive great sign with a countdown timer of the release of the game if somebody hadn't told them that that was when it was going to be released.
Although it probably isn't that hard to reset the countdown timer when they realise it is delayed.
Probably isn't, but it did say February the 1st printed on it. Who knows? I'm not going to hold my breath, man. I am crossing my fingers for sure.
It's all about.
If it comes out on February the 1st, that is going to be so great. And an update in the chat room apparently has been debunked by Blizzard. I didn't know that. Blizzard community manager Miko Whipple posted the following statement on Twitter, although the statement hasn't quite come into the chat room just yet. So we'll take a moment if you could get it there.
I think the statement is actually Bobby. Up arrow, up arrow, up arrow.
It could be. As I glanced at the chat room, see, breaking news apparently. It's probably not. I just didn't see that.
No, I think it might be something that I might have read recently, is why I kept.
Diablo 3 does not have a release date. Any store or person claiming otherwise is guessing.
Yeah.
It sounds remarkably similar to the Blizzard do not comment on rumours or speculation, which was the email I was expecting to get back from the PR rep, to be quite honest.
It is the kind of, we could have sent you an automated response, but we didn't. This is an automated response.
Pretty much.
Which is the birthday message you get from Gaming from the Elderly, a day after your birthday, apparently.
Yeah, it doesn't have a release date, but I'm guessing that if Best Buy are guessing, they're guessing upon some source.
Yeah.
Like a company like Best Buy doesn't just print fucking adverts. I don't know. But then, also, on the other hand, I cannot imagine Blizzard announcing the release date for a game like 3 weeks before the release date.
And through Best Buy?
Not through Best Buy, but maybe they've announced it to everybody, and Best Buy fucked up. I think they did. Anyhow, guys, that's our PC gaming news of this week. A few stories. Next week, maybe we'll know for sure what's happening with Blizzard and Diablo 3. Who knows? But we're going to take a very short break. We shall be right back, and when we do, we're going to talk about SOPA, the Stop Online Piracy Act, which it must be stopped. We'll be right back.
Yes, SOPA.
SOPA. In a bit, guys. Welcome back, people. I hope you enjoyed that chill out theme. Our lovely new royalty-free music of all kinds going on. Who knows what might happen. But anyhow, it's time for our topic of the week. Dan, Stop Online Piracy Act. Now, would you care to give us a general perspective of what it is and where it came from?
A potted version of what it is basically ruining the internet. That's basically what the Stop Online Piracy Act is all about.
Nail, head.
Basically the whole idea is at the moment websites like YouTube, it's not down to the website that they're not, the host isn't responsible when it comes to people posting copyrighted material. It's down to the user. They're looking at changing this so that any website whatsoever showing copyrighted material
Or linking to a website.
Or linking to a website with copyrighted material can be blocked by the United States.
I think it's going to go through the ISPs. Like the government can put a thing to the ISPs to tell them they have to block the domain name service.
It's basically very similar to the denial of service crap that goes on in the Far East.
Basically, it's China in the US.
Like the Chinese firewall. And a lot of people in England are thinking, well, yeah, fine, but that's not going to mean anything to me. But the fact is they can actually, if this goes through, take down entire websites. So YouTube could feasibly, under this act, no longer exist. Facebook,
very
Twitter, Ironhammers Live could no longer exist. But Ironhammers.org even. And pretty much every single website you use regularly, forgetting about the illegal sites, well, I say the illegal sites, the file sharing sites like Minerva, Pirate Bay, that's what they're trying to target. But it's written so vaguely that pretty much any single site can be affected by it.
So let me give you a brief example here, right? Imagine there's a 12-year-old kid. The 12-year-old kid has just bought themselves an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
They decide that they're going to make a video of themselves playing a song by the Beatles, say. They've just learnt it, a few chords, nice and easy stuff. Singing along, they record it, post it on YouTube. Not only can that kid then get fined for doing so, not only can the kid end up in prison for 5 years for doing so, but YouTube can be blocked from American ISPs.
Yeah.
Not only would YouTube be blocked by American ISPs, every site that's linked to YouTube would be blocked by American ISPs. Now, name me a website that's never embedded a YouTube video.
I can name you a page in a website that's never done it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you can.
Because I started up a blog years ago and I don't think I've ever actually used it.
You get the idea, people. It's not good. And
no, it's
even
not
if
good.
even if YouTube was only blocked to America, and perhaps we could still get we could still watch YouTube in the UK.
Yeah.
Then every American content creator on YouTube cannot upload content to YouTube. Therefore, there's probably not much point in us accessing it anymore.
Exactly. There's going to be a huge amount of people stop using it. There's a load of there's a company that invests in startup companies, and they're saying that if SOPA goes through, they're going to have to look for so much more revenue from anything they invest in now, to 13 times the amount of profit they'd be looking for now, just because it's going to be so much harder to guarantee money from the internet.
Not only to guarantee money, but to guarantee you're not going to end up like in court
Yeah.
fighting something because somebody's
So there's going to be all these, startup companies that could be the next YouTube, the next Facebook, could make a load of money that just that won't be able to do it. And everyone's thinking, oh, it's just the States. It's not. If it happens in the States, chances are it's going to happen everywhere else.
And I'm going to get onto something that kind of links to that comment in a moment. But that's from a general perspective. But as gamers, if we want to look at it from a gaming perspective, you can think about all of the YouTube videos that are... I mean, we're using YouTube as an example because everybody knows what it is, but I mean, it's obviously far wider than YouTube. But all the YouTube videos of video game tutorials, walkthroughs, Total Biscuit...
with his WTF shows, they'd be illegal.
Exactly. And I don't think that the company that owns the copyright has to even report it for it to be...
They don't even have to have actual proof.
No, after they've... Basically, they block it first, they fine you first, and then you have to prove that it never happened, basically.
You're guilty before proved innocent.
Exactly. But then you've got Twitch TV streaming, if you want to stream yourself playing a game. Now,
you've got some copyrighted posters in the background.
I actually have. So
that kid playing the guitar, it wouldn't just be the fact that he was playing some Beatles songs, probably badly. There's probably a copyrighted logo on the guitar.
There probably is.
And
there's a copyrighted Henry Hoover behind me. There's a copyrighted Tasmanian Devil, Yoda, Predator, Darth Vader, all copyrighted. That could cause problems, people. This is ridiculous.
Got a couple of surf logos behind me. Sorry, fingers being rude about SOPA there. I've got a couple of... I can't do it that way around. It's going to have to be that way around. I'd be breaking the law doing that. It reminds me of there was a thing a while back where companies would pay to get their songs on radios, and that's since been made illegal, but it still happened. And, it's the amount of money behind this act is astronomical.
Oh, there's so many people involved in it.
If you want to kind of fight against it, maybe boycott the SOPA supporting companies. Fodder has put a link in the chat room, which I guess is no good for people who are listening to this recorded, but no. There's also an app which, if you follow me on Twitter, I shall be retweeting about. If you're on Android, you can use the barcode scanner, and it will tell you if they support the act or not.
It could be very useful indeed.
Cool. It could indeed.
Certainly could. But
because it is surprising, that list. It's
people that have got no worry about piracy at all.
Pharmaceuticals.
It's ridiculous stuff. Like, it's not even close. Like, there is obviously some sort of ulterior motive behind this.
I think I know what that ulterior motive is.
You do you, Dan?
Yeah.
What do you speculate?
Well, I can't remember how long ago it was now. I think it's half a year, maybe a bit longer. There was an act that they tried to get through the United States government called PIPA, which is Protect IP, being intellectual property. And it's very similar to SOPA, or whatever we're calling it, and but it's not quite so draconian. And I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't actually deliberately making SOPA so stupid that it makes it easier to get PIPA through the back door. You've got to check out for PIPA as well. It basically is the same thing, only not quite so bad, but it's still evil.
And that evil is the word, because the internet is the only form of free speech that anybody has anymore. I mean, if you want to go and protest in London these days, this is where I'm going to get my political hat on, as Dan might have mentioned in the pre-show. If you want to go and protest about something in London nowadays, you have to ask for permission to protest about it first. You have to get permission to make a protest about something you don't like. How can that be even right? But anyway, so that's free speech gone already. And the internet is the only thing that's left, and it's kind of needed. But for me to speculate on where this is all coming from a little, and admittedly, this is pure speculation. But everybody will have heard about the uprising in the Middle East and Egypt and Libya and all those kind of places, right? And governments were overthrown over there, right? And things are getting a little bit rough in not only Middle Eastern countries at the moment. I mean, you see the Occupy Wall Street stuff.
The riots in England.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, the Occupy Exeter.
All of this stuff is organised via the internet, right? And not so long ago, President Obama was trying to pass an act where it gave him the ability to kill the internet. Why did he want that? Was it linked to what's happened in the Middle East? Are they getting worried? Are they desperate for a way to shut off the internet? Could be, could be. Of course, an Internet Kill Switch Act, I don't know what it was called, I don't know the exact details to be quite honest, but it happened. That act didn't get through, quite obviously. But how about an inadvertent way to shut down the internet with just about any reason you could possibly think of? Like, I mean, you see that Skype logo above Dan's head on the video there? Take that down! Take it off the internet!
I'm surprised you've allowed that there, because that's owned by Microsoft, and you hate Microsoft.
I hate Microsoft, but I don't care. I hate SOPA even more than I hate Microsoft. And as, like, basically, the problem is really that nobody knows about it. And although we know about it, and probably everybody who listens to this show knows about it, maybe they haven't thought about it quite as much as perhaps me and Dan have, thinking about speaking about it on the show and all that. But people, like, you need to just tell people about it. Like, you need to spread the word and get across just how dangerous it is. Living in the UK, it frightens the life out of me that somebody could have the power to turn off the internet. Like,
and even though we live in the UK, it doesn't mean to say we don't have a voice, because it does affect the internet as a whole. And there are sites there are addresses you can write to. I should have them here. I will get them and I will forward them on to Bobby, and you can make your voice heard about it. And if you live in the States, get hold of your congressman, get hold of whoever you can, and say, this is not for me. I do not agree with this. And
while it might seem kind of like it won't change anything if I do so, like, at least try. Like,
yeah, if enough people are heard, it will make a difference. That is supposedly how democracy works. Okay, it doesn't always work, but it's worth giving it a go, and especially in this case. This is really important. It is so goddamn important. It's more important than any of the games we've played this week. It's more important than my split skin. It's more important than anything that you could do, apart from possibly giving birth. Danny. We have to get this thing stopped, and we have to get anything like this in the future stopped. We have to make it clear that this is not what... No government should have any power over the internet. It should be a forum for free speech for the world. And the fact that this is being debated about in the States scares the crap out of me, and it should be to all of you.
Exactly, man. I feel exactly the same way. Like, I find it hard to believe that there's not 10 million Americans outside the White House with pitchforks because of it. Because that's how bad it is. Like, it really is that bad.
What's the amendment about free speech in the States?
I think it might be the Second Amendment or the Third. I think the Second Amendment actually is guns.
Yeah.
But whichever
that's
amendment
bear
it
arms.
Is, right,
there are some
exactly.
arms from bears.
Yep. You can do that at your actual local taxidermist. But yeah, it really needs to like just tell everybody about it, try and spread the word, because like I say, the problem is that the general public just don't know it exists. Like, this will go through if people don't understand what it is and where it happens. And people like Google have been talking about taking their services down for a whole day to protest against it. And I think if, like, Google and Facebook and Twitter and Wikipedia was another one I think that was mentioned.
Yeah.
Could all get together and actually take their websites down for a whole day, no matter
It's
how
not gonna-
much it would kill me for it to happen and be without it. Like, people are going to be like, they've never heard of SOPA, but they're going to realise if Facebook's not there anymore for a day, and they're going to want to know why Facebook's not there that day, and hopefully, if they've got any fucking sense whatsoever, they're going to find out why Facebook was down for a day, and hopefully the mainstream media might actually give it some fucking coverage, because obviously...
I don't think a day's enough.
I don't... maybe not. Maybe not.
A week.
Something needs to happen. Like, I would happily sacrifice Google for... I don't know if I could sacrifice it for a week, Dan, but I'd happily sacrifice it for a day.
I would...
It's that important.
If I had to, I'd sacrifice the whole internet for a week to ensure that it was going to be absolutely fine for the rest of my lifetime.
Well, that's exactly it. To be honest, if you sacrifice Google for a week, surely that's better than SOPA taking down Google forever. It's gotta be.
And apparently it's the First Amendment.
It's the first one. It's the first one! You should be protecting this one before anything else!
They left it out on the first draft, though. Oh shit, free speech better add that First Amendment. There we go.
They just read it on the top, that's why it's the first one.
No, I mean, you know, the thing is, it is so important. It really is. And I don't think we're really doing it justice, because I know that I've had a fair few drinks tonight, and I know you're screwed on prescription drugs.
Yeah, but I took 1 or 2 codeine tablets before I started.
And this is an incredibly important... You know those adverts you see saying, there's a child dying in Africa. Your £2 a week can save them. This is as important as that. It really is.
Because, think of it this way, there could be people dying all over the world, and if we didn't have the internet, we probably wouldn't even find out about a lot of it.
And on a lighter note, as a gaming point of view, I really quite like watching Table Biscuit's WTF stream.
Exactly, and just to kind of bring it back to gaming a little bit, there's been things like, I watched StarCraft stream live, which could be a problem. However, Blizzard already give everybody permission to broadcast and record StarCraft and all of their games, providing that it's available free of charge in some manner.
It's a Creative Commons license, isn't it?
It's a similar thing, yeah. But basically, like, other companies like Capcom have come out and said, because people were talking about obviously the fighting game community and how they have their events. My mind has gone completely blank. I can't remember what it's called. Dan, can you help me at all?
No idea. I wasn't listening. I was typing from in the chat room.
The big fighting game event thing. It's completely eluded me as to what it's called.
King of... No, that's actually
that's a game.
Yeah.
But either way,
didn't they have the final at Eurogame?
I don't think so.
Oh, there was some big fighting thing there. I didn't really pay much attention. I'm always crap at fighting games.
But whatever it is, like Capcom have said, oh well, we'll give people permission to like stream our games and stuff. But as this is a quote from Jim Sterling, probably somebody that I don't really quote very often. As he said on a tweet that I read the other day, how can people stream Capcom games if Twitch TV and such services aren't there anymore? It doesn't work. You can't do it. They will be gone. It will be blocked. The internet will be never the same again. And as I said about the something that Dan said earlier, that I was going to bring about, emails that came from WikiLeaks have been outed. Which
redacted even.
People. Somebody, I don't know the exact details, you have to look it up yourself, but basically somebody in the US government somewhere had been in contact with the Spanish government trying to force them into implementing a similar act, and basically Spain were going to go along with it apparently, and then it got stopped and the Spanish government said they weren't going to do it, and America started threatening to cut off trade with Spain and to put them on like a blacklist basically of companies that need to be countries that need to be carefully watched when trading with them and things like that. So they are trying to impose this upon more than just the US. It's bigger than that. It is worldwide, and as Kryptonians in the chat room says, RuTube will probably be no more. So even if you just want a daily wank, you need to get on it. Lighten the mood with wanking, but it's got to be done, people. You need to like do something about it. Don't think that.
I don't know if he meant RudeTube, the TV program, or RedTube.
I think he meant RedTube, but yeah, RedTube. I saw porn and I saw RudeTube, and then I realised he meant RedTube. I know what it is. Everyone else knew what it meant, and RudeTube would probably, I don't know. Either way, it's.
But you know, one of the things is going back to Total Biscuit, Total Biscuit and his WTF shows. Basically, a great example of how it could affect it is WTF is a series of shows. For those of you who haven't seen it, is him playing independent games, and that stream gets a ridiculous amount of hits a week. I think it's something like 100,000 hits a week.
I think it's might be even more.
A day, even.
Way more.
Yeah, I mean, he gets a shitload of hits, and that is the kind of advertising that small independent and startup companies couldn't have dreamed about a few years ago. Now, technically, that could be illegal.
Mm-hmm.
And
everybody will suffer, man.
You know, it's not affecting the big companies, because you know what, they're probably going to enjoy this, because Activision, you know, they'd love to have no competition from other sites with stuff, you know, independent games that could be as good as their latest first-person shooter being advertised over YouTube and having people playing it saying, look, this game's awesome. Suddenly they've got all the marketplace, because they've got the money to say, right, to bump into the internet, and that's all you see. If this goes through, all you are going to see is stuff sponsored by the big brands. It's going to be walking down a generic high street.
It's going to be a corporate internet, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you know how crap it is now. You walk down a high street and you see all the same shops. It doesn't matter where you are. There's nothing local. It's all, you know, there's a Tesco's, Metro, there's a Marks and Spencer's, there's a Boots, there's a Superdrug, there's a Waterstones, and there's loads, there's an Argos. And, you know, any high street is the same as pretty much any other freaking high street. I don't want the internet to be like that. I want the internet so I can find stuff that I may not be able to find anywhere else. I want to be able to look at, Brazilian fart porn if I have that in mind. You know, I want it to have the whole of humanity there. It's, you know, I live in the middle of nowhere. I don't get to see something different very often, apart from on the internet, and I want the whole of human knowledge to be on there so I can access it. I don't want it to be some corporate version of the whole of human knowledge. It should be everything. No matter how illiterate or crappily written it is, it should be there if someone wants it to be there.
Exactly, man. It makes me think about something I read earlier. It was the most worst piece of writing I'd ever seen in my life. Something to do with an Android phone, something to do with whatever it was. It was to do with that new Android tablet, which is going to cost like $35 or something. It was the worst piece of writing I've ever seen in my life. It basically made no sense. I couldn't even read it properly. I gave up after the first paragraph, all but looking down a little bit further, just to see how bad the rest of it was. But that's the point.
Sounds like an email from.
It practically was. It was actually worse. It was actually worse. But the point of the internet is that people can do that. Anybody can write that stuff. You can write what you want. Ironhammers, I wouldn't even be doing this now if I couldn't have started a random blog a long time ago, writing about stuff that I loved.
I wouldn't be doing this now if I hadn't stumbled across a podcast and sent them a few emails and then phoned into a few shows, and then they said, you know what, why don't you be on the show?
Exactly, man.
You know, the internet is the greatest, most incredible thing that we as a species have invented for quite some time, and I don't see it being bested for quite a lot longer.
Couldn't agree more, but I think
and we need to protect it.
We do.
We need to hold it like it's our own newborn child, because that is basically what it is.
Just look and look at it this way as well, that the way it's written, it doesn't seem to do anything about piracy. Like, it's not going to stop piracy at all.
No, it's just going to give people with money more power.
And it's going to give somebody the power to turn off the internet, which definitely needs to be stopped. Otherwise, we won't be able to take this break that we're about to take, and we wouldn't be able to come back and talk about what we've been playing this week. But no matter how much jokes we've put in there and all that kind of stuff, it's important, and you need to do something about it. Don't sit there and think, oh, well, it won't make no difference if I do something, because everybody that thinks, oh, it won't make no difference if I do something, is another person that's not doing something.
And all those people do add up.
Make a difference. Exactly, man. So we will be right back after a very short break once again, and hopefully we'll lighten things up a little with what we've been playing this week. But it was something that we felt we just had to talk about and had to mention, and just spread it around people. Like, send them people to listen to this. Let people. Total Biscuit has a very good video that you can send people who he explains it all very, very well. With his radio background and stuff, he can get stuff across in like really
far
good.
Better than we ever could.
Probably.
Maybe not far better,
Maybe
but he's got pictures and stuff.
He has, and they're probably copyrighted pictures too. Just to
They
put
are.
that in there. I think he even notes that in the in the notes of the show and of the video. But wherever it is, point people towards it, because it needs to be stopped, guys. So we'll be right back in a few moments. We'll speak to you shortly. Welcome back, everybody. Ran over. No more disgusting talk of disgusting acts is going on over in the US. But let's lighten the mood a little bit, Dan. This is where we talk about what we've been playing this week. We are going to try and change up the format of this section a little. We're going to try and kind of pick just one game that we've been playing and kind of go into a bit more detail about it and talk about it a bit more. Me and Dan are going to try when we can to try and play the same game so we can kind of compare things and hopefully get a lot more conversation going about the games than what we used to. But this week, I'll be totally honest with you guys, I haven't really played anything lately. There's not really been any new games coming out. I've been kind of playing a few other things, and I've been playing an awful lot of Mario Kart on the Wii, believe it or not. Because SDMF Baby, as you may know from the chat room occasionally, got a Wii for Christmas, so I've been bugged and bugged and bugged to play Mario Kart and other such wonderful Wii titles. But yeah, I haven't been at my computer a lot last week either, so I just haven't really played that much. So Dan's been playing a few things. I think he's going to talk about a few of them, changing so that from next week hopefully the format might change a little bit. So Dan, what have you been playing?
Yeah, I guess this is kind of my segment for a little bit, isn't it?
Pretty much is, man.
I have been playing, well, I'll get over the non-PC one first. Give me a chance to remember the name of the other one. I've been playing, a friend of mine for my birthday got me the new Call of Duty. Played it on my 360. Same old complaints, single player too short. 5 hours and 15 minutes I took to get through it. Which I don't think is enough for 40 quid.
Probably not, man.
I would play the multiplayer admittedly, but it was actually good fun. Possibly the best single player I've played in the Call of Duty title in the past 5 years at least. Yeah, it was really good fun. I've also been playing the fantastic indie title made by two guys from Min-Max Games called Spaz. It's not called Spaz, it's called Space Pirates and Zombies. I think I picked it up for about £3 and it's brilliant. It is fantastic. I can't say enough about it. It's so much fun. I bought Bobby a copy. I don't think he likes it as much as I do.
I played it very, very briefly, and it looks like the kind of thing that I could sink a whole lot of time into.
It is a huge time sink.
I just haven't got to that point where I've kind of really got into it yet. I haven't really played a lot of it, like I say. But thanks for gifting it to me, Dan. Really
yeah, one thing I will say is don't use the Christmas skin that comes with it, because it's a bit crap.
I probably wouldn't have done.
It automatically did it when I was playing it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's
get rid of that, then.
It's kind of a top-down space shooter with some strategy stuff built into it, where you've got to build your ships, choose what kind of ships to use for certain things. There's
from what I saw, there's like a bit of RPG kind of. Yeah,
kind of. Yeah,
as well, like upgrades and things like that, and stats.
Total Biscuit does the job of the narrator in it. First game I've heard with him narrating. He's not a born narrator, I've got to give it that.
Yeah, that was one thing that got me, because you pointed out to me that Total Biscuit did the narration beforehand.
Yeah.
And, like, no matter how much I love what Total Biscuit does, his voice grates on me a little. There's just something about it. It kind of bugs me a bit. And he does a lot of StarCraft commentary, and what I will say, I'm far more familiar with that than what I am his other content that he produces. And his voice just does kind of grate on me a little. And like, even the quality of the recording of the voice acting seemed off, if you know what I'm saying. But it's a little indie title. Like, I'm not going to hold that against it by no means.
I have been playing so much of this game. You can make it as long as you want. I've set it so I've got 200 star systems to go and visit. It's it's going to keep me going for ages. And you know, it's one of those games that if you've got some audio books or podcasts you want to catch up on, you can listen to those quite happily whilst you're playing it.
You can. You can.
Yeah.
As somebody said on the Gamers with Jobs conference call about one of the mini games on Star Wars: The Old Republic, if you've got a conference call to take part in, it's the kind of game you can just play without really worrying too much. And
yeah, it's kind of like my new Tetris.
a new Tetris.
Yeah, or Solitaire. Quite if I'm watching something on my screen, I'll put a bit of Solitaire on the side. Now I put a bit of Space Pirates and Zombies.
And I will be honest, I haven't seen Raptor pop up saying you're playing Solitaire just lately.
That's because I've been playing Space Pirates and Zombies.
Yeah, I'm sure it's one that Dan would recommend.
Cracking game. The other thing, actually, there's something else before I go on to the next game. Got my new Android phone. I've been trying out on live on that. I know we've got one particular listener that loves it when we talk about on live, and it works really well on my phone. Fantastic.
It works terribly on mine.
I'm
not going to fight that comment.
But you know, I've got a 4.7-inch screen, nearly a gig of RAM on it, and it works brilliantly. Even on my mum's crappy connection, I was playing Darksiders the other day, and it was actually easier to play than it was on my mate's tablet.
Really?
I'm really tempted to put my hand in my pocket and go and buy the Bluetooth controller so I can play all my games on my phone.
And another reason that I'm tempted to buy a Bluetooth controller, I'm not going to use it on a mobile device, but it comes with the wireless adapter to use it on the PC as well. And
Yeah.
I really love that controller, man. I wish
It's
I
a
could have
good
plugged
controller.
it in.
I'd like to move the thumbstick on the left-hand side to where the D-pad is. I'd like to swap them round, but
perhaps.
it looks like I could probably do that with a screwdriver, a
You
file,
probably actually could.
and my soldering iron. So I might just do that. The other game, I can't remember the title of it, which is terrible because I've been playing it and I can't seem to find it anywhere.
Dan, why don't you take a little peek into the Skype chat?
That's what I'm doing. Have you put it in there now? Because I'm scrolling back up.
It's at the bottom.
Yeah, that is it. It's Warlock Masters of the Arcane. I've been going back trying to find the link you sent me ages ago.
Oh, right. I had to search Gmail to find out what it was. Which probably doesn't bode well. But it's before Dan goes on to talk about it, I will just note it's a preview version of the game. It's not out for a while.
It's
so
even
it's in early
pre-beta
alpha stage.
Yeah, it's a really early copy of the game. It's not coming out for at least 6 more months. And
That said, how have you found it, man?
well, as soon as I started playing it, I thought of one game.
Really?
Yeah, it was Civilization 5.
It looked like Civilization on the screenshots, I will be honest.
It looks a hell of a lot like it in the game, but you start playing it and you realise it isn't. The one problem I've had at the moment is there's no tutorial, and kind of put a bit of a break on the game for me because I kind of had to figure out what the hell was going on because I've not played anything in the series. It does follow on from the previous titles in the series.
And note that a tutorial will be in it when it releases. It's just
Oh yeah,
not there at the moment.
yeah, of course. But the previous titles were RTS games, whereas this is turn-based. So it's very kind of Civ as opposed to StarCraft now. If you basically think of Civilization with magic, you're kind of getting there. And I think I'm going to end up putting a lot of time in this game. It looks like it's actually going to be really fun.
Now, it's Paradox Interactive, I believe.
Yeah, they took over the old company, which I can't remember. I probably should have put everything up on my screen.
But I mean, Paradox are well known for their strategy games.
Yeah, and it's looking like... Well, I can see it going one of two ways. Well, one of three ways, actually. One, SOPA will come in, and this game will be deemed illegal because it is so much like Civilization 5. Especially to look at, it's unbelievable. the second kind of middle route is that it's going to end up being a kind of mod to Civ 5, and no one's going to buy it because you can't really sell mods. Well, you can sell mods, but they don't make as much money as games, so what's the point? And the third option is that it's actually no one's going to notice what I've just said, and it's going to actually do really well. I think it could be a fantastic game. I just need to put some more time into it.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing that you probably do have to put a fair bit of time into, really get into it, you know.
And for any fans of Civilization that want a bit more kind of old schooliness and magic, it could be a title to look for. If you haven't forgotten about it in 6 months' time when it finally comes out.
So yeah,
I don't think
it's
going to have a huge fanfare.
It probably won't. Most of these Paradox games
No.
don't become massive. Magicka is one that did, but a lot of their strategy games they do have a following, like quite a big following for what they are. So if that kind of thing takes your fancy, then definitely probably keep an eye out for it. You know?
From what I've seen of their previous titles, it looks like they've been following the Civ series.
They probably have. They probably have. But that's about it for what we've been playing this week. Like I say, we're going to change that section up a little in the future. But we're going to take a very quick break, just a very short one. We'll be right back. And when we come back, we'll be talking about what we found in our inbox this week. As we mentioned at the top of the show, input from the community. We should be back just after this. Told you it was going to be a quick break, people. Welcome back. It's time to get straight into our section that I think I'm going to call, quite simply, Inbox. How does that sound to you, Dan?
That sounds lazy and unprepared. No, it sounds good.
It took me a long while to think that up, you know. There is a reason we just had a very quick break. That aside, like as we said at the top of the show, we're going to take some comments, questions and such from the community every week, so get them sent in to podcast@ironhammers.org if you'd like to have your opinions and stuff read out on the show. So we're going to kick off. I'm going to do this the other way around to what I've got it listed, just to let Dan know that I'm mixing up. A comment from Twitter that came from Spawnstar, which I mentioned earlier on, who's in the chat room now, so he's here to get his answers firsthand. He says, is it really worth buying cheap Eastern European / Russian CD keys on the net? Is it safe? And what do you get? So Dan, you first. I believe you might have partaken in something.
Yeah,
like
I
this
had
recently.
Very recently. I was on another show. I'm going to mention it. The Gamesman.
Of course you can mention it, Dan.
Yeah, and the host, Steve JSS Lifelike Conga, was sent a Steam code, a link to an eBay page with a Steam code for, I think it was about $5 for Dead Island, and he bought everyone on the show a copy, and it worked fine. It was a valid code. We all got different codes. It all worked absolutely perfectly. Whether or not that's going to happen every single time you use eBay to buy a code, I have no idea. I tend to steer away from eBay. I just don't trust the people that sell stuff there. That's my own problem, not anyone else's. And but yeah, it worked. As to the kind of validity of the key, well, it worked. As to the ethics of buying a game so cheaply, I think it was probably some employee of Steam that was given a load of codes for free and decided to make some money out of it. I have no idea. That's what I'm guessing. That's what I'm hoping.
No. Go on.
But yeah, when it comes to things like that, you know, you're taking a risk. If you can afford to lose that money, then by all means give it a go. If you can't afford to, perhaps you'd be better off saving it and buying a kosher copy from a retailer you trust.
Now let me interject my standpoint. It could possibly, now this is not saying that it would happen, but it is, Dan said about losing your money, but be prepared that you could possibly lose your whole Steam account, because it is actually against Steam's terms and conditions to do such things. If you read it up, it certainly is. I haven't heard personally of it happening to anybody, but violation of Steam's terms and conditions won't just lose you that game, it will lose you your account.
Every game.
Every game that you've ever paid. So, personally,
I think also, even if you receive that code as a gift through Steam,
perhaps it could even work like that too. Like I say, I'm not sure on the ins and outs of it. I'm not sure how often it's happened. I'm not sure exactly why that's the case. But I know that it is against their terms and conditions. Now, the reasons why, I'm assuming most of these keys, as far as I know, as Spawnstar stated in his comment, people buy the codes in like Russia and other Eastern European countries, where things are a lot cheaper than what they are. There's probably not so much tax. I don't know why it's so much cheaper, but it is that much cheaper. And then they sell them in other regions. So for which case Steam is losing out, probably the developer is losing out. So think about that as well when you do it.
on the plus side, the government's losing out.
The government could well be losing out as well. And just a few Spawnstar who started the this conversation with his tweet. He's saying in the chat room he got Battlefield 3 and Modern Warfare 3 for £12 on release from Direct Game Key. He paid, got an email, photo of the box showing the key, which is generally what they do. They scan the book with the code on. He said he wouldn't use eBay, but he said the site's been around 7 years. His origin BF3 was named as Russian. After the last patch, it just changed to Battlefield 3. Other sites that I've seen, some of them, I can't remember what games they were, but occasionally you will have to use a VPN to activate the game because they're from a different region. So I've got the complete name wrong by saying VPN there, I think, haven't I, Dan?
Yeah, because you mean virtual private network.
I do. I mean, like, you're going to need to use a proxy.
Yeah, proxy. Yeah.
Because sometimes the keys won't activate because they think you've got it from a different region, which you obviously have. And if you're not in the region that they were bought, they won't work without using a proxy. Now, one site that I have seen personally doing this does offer full support for it. They do. Spawnstar says Steam Russian games need a proxy, Origin doesn't. But yeah, some of them do need a proxy to activate. So if you're not too familiar with that kind of stuff, the sites will talk you through it and get you to do it. I've seen one site that actually says they'll log into your account for you and do it all for you. Whether you want to let someone do that or not, I don't know. But as Fodder says in the chat room, I'd rather play it safe, pay a bit more, buy from somewhere I trust and support, which is probably the best way to do it. It's the way I would do it. And the amount of games and the amount of money that's gone into my Steam account, I don't want to risk losing it.
No.
I really don't want to risk losing it.
Now you've got me worried now from accepting that code from Steve.
But yeah.
Oh, that's one of the games I forgot to mention that I played actually.
Maybe.
Dead Island. It's alright. That'll do.
Yeah, I think Steve might mention it in an email that's coming up anyway. But yeah, personally, I wouldn't risk it. I wouldn't necessarily promote it. It's completely up to you. As Spawnstar says in the chat again, he says his personal experience has been positive. He just wondered what everyone else felt. Fodder thinks it's a good topic to talk about, and I agree. I think it is a good topic to talk about. I think it should be discussed. And it's, at the end of the day, I would just say it's down to personal preference. I haven't heard of too many people having problems. I have heard of people having extremely long waits to actually receive their keys once they've bought stuff.
Yeah.
But they have eventually gotten it, or I've heard of people getting refunds as well. So a lot of the sites that do it probably are legitimate in their business practices, but perhaps not in the main thing they're doing with their business, if you understand what I'm trying to say there.
I mean, I don't think as a show we can really condone using something.
No, I wouldn't do it.
That isn't possibly legal. I myself, if it was my money, I wouldn't do it. I'd just, if I really wanted the game, I'd wait until I had the cash. And
I agree. And everyone gets the best deal then, really. Apart from maybe your wallet, but.
Or I'd wait for a Steam sale.
That's another way to do it.
Yeah, I've decided that for my PC games, unless it's something I absolutely have to have right away, I'm probably just going to wait and buy my games every 6 months.
When there's a Steam sale.
Yeah, get the summer sale or the Christmas sale.
And you're going to pick up everything.
Well, yeah, because let's face it, there's been loads of stuff this Christmas sale that's only been out for a few months and is already a lot cheaper. So.
And Spawnstar says, to be honest, Play.com had Saints Row for $9.99, which I did notice that as well. So, I mean, there's deals to be found elsewhere. Like, you don't have to do this to get stuff cheap, and you're not going to upset anybody or possibly, you know, risk your Steam account in the process.
And let's face it, everyone that listens to this does have access to Google, and that's really quite good for finding deals.
Certainly is. But on to another tweet that came from Spawnstar, which is one that particularly interested me. He says, with almost all AAA titles releasing poor Rust versions to the PC, what and where, if any, is the future of PC esports? As everybody probably knows.
That interested me as well.
It did. But as everybody knows, I'm a massive fan of StarCraft 2 as an esport.
Not, are you?
I certainly am. Massive fan of StarCraft 2 as an esport. I watch hours and hours and hours of it every week. So that'll be the first thing I'll point to. PC esports, look towards StarCraft. It's possibly the most popular. I'm pretty certain it is the most popular.
There's another little game that I'd point towards that I've been playing a fair bit of.
League of Legends, Dan.
Yeah, well, that's had a bit of a kind of esports thing going on as well, hasn't it?
It has.
And you know, they're not to be found. Both of those games not to be found on the consoles.
Exactly.
Both of those games great fun to play. If a little hard compared with the console fodder, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Indeed, but the thing is, these games can last for years and years as esports. If you look at StarCraft 1, it was played as an esport, and it's still played in Korea to this day, but worldwide it's played as an esport right up until when the beta of StarCraft 2 came out, and that was when the pros started to switch over. You've got things like Counter-Strike 1.6, which is still played as an esport. Quake is still played as an esport. So there's things that still go on now. They've got things, you're talking about the console games, they don't hang around like that. If you look at MLGs, typically there'll be a different console game at MLG every year. Like, I know Halo was on it in the last Pro Circuit they did. Before that, I think they had Black Ops, and then it would have been a different Halo game the year before that probably. They don't hang around like they do with the PC versions, and I don't think they get as popular. I mean, StarCraft 2 as an esport is big business nowadays. Like,
I think the problem is when it comes down to the markets, console gamers, and I include myself with this as much as I hate it. We've got so used to having a yearly version of certain games, and in that year's you don't really have the time to really get awesome at that game, because although Modern Warfare 3 on the face of it looks exactly the same as all the other recent Call of Duty titles, there are subtle changes. But it's no one's going to want to watch World at War contest now when Modern Warfare 3's out. Okay, World at War's quite old in comparison, but not when you talk about how long StarCraft was an esport for.
Exactly. And not only do you not have the time to get that good at a game and master the game,
you don't have the input system.
But the companies can't make a game that's worthy of esports. Look how long StarCraft 2 took to make. Look how much it takes to make a game that has the balance and the variety and the ability to become a good, suitable title for esports. As Spawnstar says, he's asking what is the future of PC esports. Heart of the Swarm StarCraft 2 expansion obviously goes without saying. That will carry on. And to
League of Legends is going to get stronger.
League of Legends is going to. But future games coming out, you've got Counter-Strike Go, which I know for a fact a lot of the old Counter-Strike players they're playing the beta, they're giving input to Valve, and staying on with Valve. Dota 2 as well is going, definitely. They've already held that £1 million tournament. It was kind of a promotional thing, I know, but they've held a £1 million tournament for Dota 2 already, and it's only in beta stage. And Spawnstar says in the chat here that PC games don't come with the tools to make esport friendly mods and tweaks nowadays, which can be true to some extent, but with Dota 2, Valve have implemented all the tools that everybody needs. The spectator tools are absolutely amazing in Dota 2. There's the ability to, I believe, stream the audio from microphones and the spectator thing from within the game. There's scoreboard systems. I believe it even outputs the current statistics of a game to a website, which has got an API that you can then use to display stuff on a stream. Like Valve are definitely going after it. Riot Games definitely going after it. Hi-Res Studios with Tribes Ascend, the North American Star League, which is one of the big tournaments in America, which has been playing host to a lot of StarCraft 2. And Tribes Ascend is going to be a title that's on the next season of NASL. So Hi-Res are definitely getting behind it. I think that StarCraft has done wonders for it. People are starting to realise that it is a viable business as well as entertainment, and more and more money is being poured into it by the day, and more companies are starting to take notice. League of Legends have started, Riot Games have started putting things into League of Legends that make it easier to spectate and to see what's going on in the game. It's a game that I, despite having played a fair amount of myself, I find it very hard to follow as an esport, because I'm not that up on everything.
You're still a noob.
I'm still a noob, that's it.
I'm still a noob, but I'm kind of getting there, and I'm like, oh shit, that's how you play the game.
But Spawnstar brings up something that I kind of agree with. He says he thinks it's going to move towards RTS and RPG. Seems FPS is the console genre of choice. And it's something that I've heard other people talking about as well. That an RTS and an RPG is so much easier to spectate, because that first person view, you can only see one person's view at a time. I understand Counter-Strike, you can watch it from over the top and you can kind of pull back a bit and things like that, but generally in the console ones and stuff you can't, and in newer ones you can't. But
I can't see an RPG being an esport.
I don't know, I think he means like more like an action RPG kind of RTS kind of type thing, you know, like maybe I don't know. But yeah, there's like MMORPGs obviously have PvP arena modes and stuff.
That's true, yeah.
World of Warcraft has been played as an esport, especially at BlizzCon, believe it or not.
Yeah, there are those Blizzard fans.
But despite rushed versions of PC games. It's the games that only have a PC version the majority of the time that are going to be the ones that make a really successful esport. And I think esports is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as we go into the future. So
and I can see more free-to-play games taking the kind of League of Legends approach rather than the Lord of the Rings or Dungeons and Dragons online approach. And they could easily become esports. I think there's going to be a lot more PC esports than just predominantly StarCraft 2, which is what we see at the moment.
Totally, man. And it's even the fact that like people are starting to see how much money people are winning playing StarCraft 2.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm not by any means saying that you can see somebody winning thousands and thousands of pounds playing StarCraft 2 and actually be able to go and do that yourself, because it's really not that easy. These people practice 12 hours every single day. A lot of the time they live in team houses where they can practice and have like another 20 people around them all practicing at the same time. Like, it's not like anybody can just pick it up and become a professional gamer. You need to put time and effort into it. But there's something there about it that kind of
seems so much easier to attain than becoming a professional athlete.
Yeah, that, but also the idea of seeing other people winning money by playing video games.
It kind of adds some kind of validity to what is for the majority of people a hobby.
It does totally. And I think as an esport, like you get people questioning, oh, why would you want to watch people playing a game? Why didn't you just play it? But there is something to seeing the very best people in the world playing StarCraft.
Yeah, it's like I watch a load of surf films, not just because, quite frankly, a lot of them are freaking awesome, but because you can actually learn stuff by watching people that are better than you doing stuff.
Exactly.
It's part of being human. It doesn't have to be surfing. It doesn't have to be watching someone play a video game. It can be anything. You can learn by watching people do stuff, and you might think, oh, so that's how you do that thing I've never been able to do before. It could be cooking. I'm not holding the knife quite right, or oh shit, you turn the oven on. Brilliant.
You say cooking, but it goes. The same thing goes. Watching a professional cook on TV to learn how to cook. Watching a professional football player or something like that.
Yeah,
you're
there's
watching
a
them
guy.
They're the best in the world at what they do.
There's a guy who started off. He's basically coaching some kids football, and he was on Radio 4 recently, and it was the BBC, and they've got a whole remit of not telling lies, so it must be true. And because he couldn't always, be on call for his kids, teaching them how to play football, he made some YouTube videos and recorded them playing and said, okay, this is where you've gone wrong, you need to be doing this, that and the other, annotated the videos, stuff like that. And now he's getting a ridiculous amount of hits from people that don't have access to football coaches, and they're using his videos. Unfortunately, there's a copyrighted logo on the football, so that'll be banned by SOPA.
Yeah, it probably will be. I just want to pick up on Spawnstar's comment of anti-cheat. He's saying as long as these games can get a handle on proper anti-cheat, and to be quite honest, it's a non-issue in esports.
Yeah.
If you've got somebody spectating your game, if you've got 100,000 people on a stream watching you play a game and you cheat, you're going to get noticed. And these tournaments have mods and admins and people that watch and replays and everything else that gets saved. And
it's just like Hawkeye in Wimbledon, only with far more people looking far closer.
Exactly. It will get noticed. I know, just as an example, there's a thing called stream cheating in StarCraft, which people probably might not be familiar with. But as you will know, people are stream their practicing and stuff. It's how a lot of the players make their money, to be quite honest, by streaming and making money off ad revenue. But there will be people that watch the streams and they will actually wait until the player's queuing up for a game, and then they will click find game, hoping that they can get on. And very often they do, and they'll watch the stream on a second monitor or something, and they will know exactly what the other guy is doing. And even in that situation, which is a casual situation where there's no official tournament admins or anything like that, people on the stream, within the first 5 minutes of the StarCraft game, you will see people on stream saying, this guy's stream cheating, this guy knows what's happening, like,
Yeah.
because you can tell. And
I hate
Star says,
Punkbuster.
comment on making the game successful enough to make them esports candidates, and I think it's more to do with variety, and it's ultimately to do with a difficulty level. StarCraft's difficulty level, even in StarCraft 1 to the last day of StarCraft before StarCraft 2 came out, nobody had mastered StarCraft 1. It had such a high ceiling for when the difficulty ran out that you could always get better at it. The scene was always evolving, the strategies were always changing, the metagame was always changing. And,
it strikes me that the games that translate well to pro gaming, the games that are in some way like chess.
Yeah, so many people compare StarCraft to chess. Because chess has been around for years and people still play it.
Chess is a fantastic game, but it's one of those games that's easy to learn but really hard to master.
Exactly.
I mean, you can pick up StarCraft 2 or StarCraft and start playing it, and against the AI think you're doing reasonably well. As soon as you start playing people, it's another matter. And it's the same with, you know, League of Legends and a load of other games out there that could well be, you know, esport games, including a load of card games that are on PC for some reason.
Another thing that StarCraft is often compared to is poker, and how poker became a popular spectator sport, like kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah,
it was mainly thanks
suddenly
to the
Texas
internet.
Hold'em, everyone's watching it on telly, and I'm like,
It was mainly because it became, with the internet and online poker, it became easy for everybody to play poker.
Yeah.
Same as it's easy for everybody to play StarCraft. You don't need a football field and goals and lines and referees and stuff to pick up a computer game and play it. Same as you don't for online poker. And that's where it feels like anybody can do it, and that's kind of what it is. But also the other thing about poker that's kind of like StarCraft is, when you're watching a poker tournament on TV, you can see everybody's cards, but nobody else can. And the same goes for StarCraft. You can see
the whole map.
You can see what both players are doing, but the players don't know what each other are doing. So it adds that sense of wonder, like, is he going to spot it? Is he going to see it? Is this going to happen? Is he going to respond correctly? Is he going to go and find that barracks that's been placed just outside his base, or is he going to wander past it without seeing it? And
is he going to notice those cloaked rats, or whatever they are, that's just outside the edge of his beacon?
Is he going to get detection in time so he can see the cloaked units? Is he going to, like, you know they're coming, but he doesn't? It's so exciting, guys, and I urge you to go and watch some StarCraft if you haven't.
I enjoy watching StarCraft more than I enjoy playing it, because I suck at StarCraft too.
There's so many thousands of people that say that.
I mean, you watch it more than you play it, don't you?
I do, and I play it a lot.
You played some recently, and I think, seeing from the Twitter feed, you lost a game, didn't you? I'm sure I saw someone challenge you on Twitter, and you took up the challenge.
I lost the game to Ben Clark on Twitter.
That was it. You were using your tiny screen, though, weren't you?
I wasn't on my computer. I was on a shit keyboard on a tiny screen. But just to mention, Dan, I won the second game.
Oh, right. Was there a third?
There wasn't a third, because after I won the second game,
he had to go to work, didn't he?
He suddenly disappeared and he went offline. He didn't say anything either. He just quit. And when I suggested on Twitter that he might have rage quit, he had an excuse. But I was all over him on that second game. The first game I made one mistake and it kind of snowballed from there.
Which is another great thing about, you know, games that do make it to esports. They have that part about them where if you cock up, you will pay. In something like Call of Duty, you know, you can cock up and make it back really easily, whereas StarCraft, League of Legends, and a few other games, if you make a mistake earlier on and your opponent capitalizes on it, you are screwed.
For example, this game I'm talking about, I had a unit like 1 hex to the right of where it should have been, and basically he slipped some Hellions into my base and they killed all my drones.
Through that little gap.
Through that gap. and if I hadn't have done that, if I'd have had another unit there, or if I'd have had that one moved across a bit more,
if you'd put it in the right place,
and it would have never have happened. But it's snowball. But then when it does happen, there's also the comeback element. Like, it is possible to do little things and come back, and it's just so exciting. Just check it out, watch it. Just watch it. It's great. It's great. It's amazing.
Right.
Watch
Well, you've
StarCraft.
completely confused me about the order we're doing these emails in. Are we going down now?
We are now going to move on to the lovely fodder.
Fodder.
John. He sent us an email. I don't know. Would you like to take this one, Dan?
Let me find it.
Just
Right, that's
under the
Steve's.
European Russian CD keys thing.
Oh, I've got Steve's under that.
Oh, I've got Fodders and then Steve's. I'll take Fodders, you can take Steve's. Fodder is an email. This is under the other kind of thing. Aside from questions are great. The last two have provoked some great discussion as far as I'm concerned. But we want to know your experiences too. And Fodder sends in, he says, if you guys like co-op FPS and you love films such as Heat and Point Break, then I highly recommend that you check out Payday the Heist. It's available on Steam for only $14.99. You play as one of 4 career criminals who have a penchant for money, guns, money, explosives, money, swearing, and more money. I got confused there when money was twice, and then I realised where he was going with it. Weapons range from humble suppressor Beretta M9 all the way up to the awesome Uber HK-21 light machine gun. The idea of the game is for you to break into high security buildings such as a bank, cause absolute mayhem, and get away with a load of money. That word's becoming fairly familiar. Sounds simple, doesn't it? But standing between you and your bounty are the police, who have some crazy weapons of their own, including specialist officers, which include the taser, the shield, the cloaker, and the terrifying bulldozer. The game is fun in single player, but it really excels in co-op mode. My friends and I have had a total blast, pun intended, with Payday, and Overkill Software have recently looked after the PC community with great post-release support, which is something that people should always support. If game development companies are continuing to support their games after they've released it, after they've made most of their money, then not only support that game, but look out for their future releases as well, because they probably deserve your money. So thanks to Fodder for sending that one in. We really appreciate it, man. What did Steve have to say? He typed a rather long email while I was chatting to him on Skype for 3 hours earlier.
Before we get to that, you should have read that in a Jason Statham kind of voice.
Yeah, I couldn't. I really couldn't.
If you guys like co-op FPS, yeah, that'd have been awesome. We've got a punch shop for money, guns, money, explosives, money, swearing, and more money.
Well, Dan, I did try to let you read it, but to be quite honest, you were...
Yeah, no, I've drunk myself blind. Drunk myself blind. Anyway, we've got one here from Steve, JSS Lifelike Conga, and he says, hello, fellas. Probably not in quite such a paedophile manner.
No, I don't think he sounds anything like that.
No. I just wanted to drop you a little line to wish you a happy, healthy, cheers, New Year, and to let you know that 2012 thus far is the year of me reconnecting my PC.
Thumbs up, Steve.
Yeah. I've seen his new case. He's got this little thing to go by the TV. I say little, it looks like an old school desktop that you used to put your monitor on top of.
It does look a bit like that. It's an HD PC case. I think it's a Silverstone HD.
Well, I'm coming to that.
But, I think he's about to. Yeah, GD, not PC. Carry on, Dan.
After months of talking about it, I finally purchased my HTPC case. I nabbed a Silverstone GD05B for $100 US shipped, one that I knew all of my tower's components would fit in. Believe me guys, this case is exquisite for being a mid-range selection. Each mount for a moving component is fitted with that's my mistake, not his, is fitted with an anti-vibration rubber grommet. There's also silicon vents. There's also silicon to vent the possible second hard drive. Here's what I fit in the case. And he's got himself an Intel DG35EC Micro ATX motherboard, an Asus DVD rewrite drive, Palette GeForce GTS 450 1GB, Avera Media HD capture card. Not entirely sure you need that in a sitting room case, but
Oh no,
why
you
not?
can capture straight from your.
His Wii.
Well, yeah, from your Wii. From.
That's all he's going to be playing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you can capture it from, say, I don't think Steve uses it, but say you have a cable box or something, you can capture.
Well, yeah,
you can
use
as
it like a
DVR,
sling
basically.
box and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got his Amtech Eco Green 620 watt PSU. Not a bad wattage there. I might have gone a bit higher myself. Maybe 750. And a 400 gigabyte Seagate Barracuda drive. It goes on to say this thing has two 1,200 millimeter fans, 12 centimeters, on the right side panel and one on the left.
I think there should be 120 millimeter fans.
Yeah, it should be. Basically two 12 centimeters on
Otherwise,
the right.
they're a meter long.
Yeah, that's
That's right. Isn't
yeah.
it? That is right. 1.2 meters.
Yeah. So it's got two 12 centimeter fans on the right and one on the left, creating positive pressure which vents out through a grill in the top of the case. All the vents are filtered along with one placed directly under the PSU fan. I guess the short of it is a great case. So this is what I've been doing with it. Bastion. A little over $5 on the Steam sale. I almost feel guilty for not paying full price for it. Great soundtrack, wonderful visuals, and a great narrative twist and resolution. Dead Island. Got a steal of a deal on a Steam key on eBay for $6. Beautiful world, but everything in it is laughably bad. And yeah, it is. Dan and I had so much fun for a brief session. And yeah, we laughed so much. You
said that earlier.
It's one of those games. Even on my rig, it looks fantastic. But the voice acting and the kind of whole scripting of the game, it's really funny. It's you can't take that game seriously. It's kind of almost like crossing Left 4 Dead with the first Saints Row for poor scripting. Anyway, he goes on with Tridef 3D Ignition, which is a little bit of software that came recommended to him from Pete Dodd. He uses custom-made profiles for each game and converts it into 3D, because he's got that big arsey 3D TV, which I'm not going to buy. Some work better than others, but Magicka and Portal 2 looked and played marvelously. I still need to try out the Nvidia equivalent 3D TV play, but I haven't yet. Also wireless adapter for the old Xbox 360 controller, $27 shipped. But this has changed everything for me. I've weathered the trophies / achievement storm, so the PC will be more of a viable alternative for me in the future. That's it, guys. Belated happy birthday to Dan, and can't wait to listen to the first Ironhammers live of 2012. Yeah, well, where are you? You're not in the chat room.
He's watching the Steelers game, man. And from what I just saw on Twitter, I think they lost, so he's probably not very happy at this moment in time.
But he signs off, your pal Steve.
As always. And as always, thanks Steve for sending that in. Always great to hear from you, man. But I think that just about brings us to the end of the show, doesn't it, Dan?
Yeah, we need more questions and comments for next week, and you can email them to us at podcast@ironhammers.org.
We certainly do. So get on that, people. If you listen to this recorded or live, remember the address, podcast@ironhammers.org. Should be pretty simple to remember, really, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
So, Dan, we're doing a on the spot one shout out this week, because in our essence of streamlining the show, which hasn't quite managed to streamline it, but hopefully we'll do next week when we're actually on the ball. One shout out and where to follow you on Twitter.
Right, my one shout out is at the Bristol Boss on Twitter. He bought me Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Thank you very much. Fantastic, but my only birthday present. Thank you. And you can follow me at HardyDown on Twitter. What about you?
Nice one. Well, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, I am at Ironhammers. The 5 has gone forever. And my one shout out this week is a bit of self-promotion. I'm pretty good at doing that. And as I mentioned earlier in this show, we were talking about SOPA and all that, and I was saying about me starting a blog which sounds at Ironhammers. Well, I'm kind of missing my outlet for all things randomness, which is how Ironhammers started off as a personal blog, where I just wrote about anything that interested me, whether it was tech or just anything, you know. A lot of it probably will be tech-based or software-based or mobile-based, things like that. It'd be quite nerdy, put it that way. That's what I used to do. Then I made Ironhammers strictly PC gaming. I'm feeling the need to write about some other stuff just to get it off my chest. So I have started my own new personal blog, which is at bobby.ironhammers.org. Should also be pretty simple to remember. It's got one post at the moment, which is kind of an introduction and explanation as to what it is, which I've kind of just done already on here. So you probably don't need to read that. But if you would go over there and just check it out, maybe stick the RSS feed into Google Reader or bookmark it or whatever people do these days. I know it's all about Google Reader for me.
Dog catcher for me.
Different things. Dog catcher is great for podcasts.
And RSS feeds.
And RSS feeds. So yeah, go check it out, bobby.ironhammers.org. I've tried to keep the layout nice and clean and simple. And I'll be posting random stuff on there. The first thing I think I'm going to post, since I've just got myself an Android device and I've moved from iOS, there's going to be a sort of iOS to Android blog about my experience moving between the two. How I found it, what I've missed, what I haven't missed, maybe what I've gained, maybe what I've lost, maybe whether my next phone will be iOS or Android. Maybe I've decided.
I think you have.
I think I have. But
no more iTunes.
You will find out. No more iTunes. But yeah, I think that's going to be the first blog I write. But yeah, anything that comes up, I'll probably do. I might write something about SOPA, just to get it out there. But yeah, things that happen if I do something, or if I enjoy something, or if I find a new bit of software what's cool or something like that, I might get over there and add it. So that was a pretty extended shout out, but I just wanted to share that with you guys. bobby.ironhammers.org. So aside from that, that brings us to the end of everything. Do go over to itunes.ironhammers.org and subscribe to us on there. No more iTunes, I just said, and then I'm telling you to go and subscribe. But I know there's plenty of you that use iPhones and iPods and such out there to listen. So yeah, leave a review while you're there. Do that. And as you know, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. Just go to ironhammers.org. All the links are there. There's little icons with little birds and Fs and YouTubes and all that good stuff. Go and subscribe to all of them. Get all the content you possibly can from Ironhammers. And aside from that, come and join us next week at 10 PM roughly. Dare I say. Next Sunday for another episode of Ironhammers Live, and we're going to try and streamline things, like I say, and get it down. We want to try and get it down to about an hour, and probably get the pre-show down to about an hour if we possibly can as well. But yeah, we'll leave it at that. Thanks to everyone who came along in the chat room. Thanks to everybody that sent us in questions. Like I say, podcast@ironhammers.org if you want to send some more in. Cheers, Dan, as always.
It's been a pleasure.
Happy recovery for your skull and stitches. I hope that when they're removed it doesn't hurt too much.
It won't hurt. I can't feel half my face.
Could be useful in that situation, man. So cheers. Cheers for listening, people. We will be back next Sunday around about 10 PM right here on twitch.tv/Ironhammers. And finally, while I mentioned twitch.tv, if you haven't done so already, there should be a little follow button on the page somewhere if you're watching live now. Or a little kind of heart or something. I can't remember what it is. I think it says follow, a little blue button.
It's not even on my screen.
Whatever it is, there's something to follow us on Twitch. Please click that, and it will keep you up to date as to whenever we're going live. So we'll leave it at that.
It's a heart.
It is a heart. I thought it might have had something to do with a heart. Anyway, see you next week, guys. Bye bye.